Good evening and welcome to Social Chatter episode. Are we on 107, Christian? I ask this every time. Is it 107?
I think this is 107, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Excellent. I'm Nick Rishwain and Christian Karasevich is co-hosting and the founder. And our guest tonight is Mike Gingrich. Am I saying that correct? Did I say it right? All right.
Gingrich, you got it. Yep.
Gingrich. All right. I had to clarify that with him before we started, and then I was afraid that I would screw it up once we were on. Lots of news stories for you tonight, but a little bit about Mike before we get started. Mike is no nonsense, straight talk, practical talk on social media and business marketing. This is the first sentence of the Halftime Mike podcast. And it's been a podcast going on for about 3 years now. It's about social media, business, and life. Mike is, or was, he's not an active basketball coach anymore, but he coached his kids' teams. He watched high school, college, and pro basketball. He loves to watch, he loves to learn, loves to adapt. So you took those ideas, Mike, and you applied them to social media, business, and life. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. I just think there's, some synergies there. And when teams go into the locker room at halftime, it's to evaluate and plan. And basically that's what I like to help people do. And that's what my podcast is about.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And tell us a little bit about the day job. You are in web development and web software tools. And
yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yep. I manage a web team called Digital Hill, and we kind of specialize. We specialize really in web software. Oftentimes it starts with a website, but we have our ideal client base is someone who has members, dealers, distributors, users, somebody that they want to have private information behind, their website and access different tools. So we build out a lot of custom tools for those types of things that can range from manufacturers, financial realm to membership sites, all those kinds of things. But when they want to deliver information and they need custom tools to be able to give that kind of access, that's where we come in. And of course, there's marketing needs with those types of pieces, so we get into a lot of that. But we're getting into some exciting things here. That for our world on the day job, it's about we're doing one now. We're rolling out where you can build your own boat. So you want to go online. You want to you're thinking about getting a sport boat, a pontoon boat, and you can pick your colors, pick your engine, and it's changing before your eyes. That type of thing. So some of those type of pieces are some of the exciting things in the work world there.
Very cool. Very cool. Christian, what's happening with you?
It's been a really busy week, I guess, overall. I mean, it's I'm just surprised at all the news that came out this week. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3. What did I have? I think I had 12 topics or something ridiculous.
Yeah, we had to cut way down because there's a ton of items, so we had to choose a few of the bigger ones.
Yeah, I mean, so it's been a good week, really good week.
It has been. It has been. I'm glad to hear everything's going well. It looks like you've got a new pair of earbuds there.
Yep, testing out the AirPods actually, and I will say I like the fact that we're using Zoom, and I like the fact that I can have the video coming from one feed, and then I've got the audio going in to the earbuds, and then I'm also running a Zoom microphone actually. And I like the fact that Zoom lets me have, all these different options. I didn't think, with, Bluetooth headphones that you could actually do that for live video and have it actually work very well.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I just got my first pair of the pods when I upgraded to the 7, the nice. iPhone 7. So I just got some new pods, but I have not used them yet. With that, should we jump into some stories?
Yeah, let's do it.
Christian, did you get my last instant message or iMessage?
What was that?
It was about the link that we had for Mike for Zoom was bad. There was just one letter change, so I sent that to you to log in. I posted it on my feed on Facebook, but you may want to post that on the social chef's feed.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Great.
So our first story for tonight is from Twitter. It's the big news for Twitter this week, and for in big news for Twitter in quite some time. Although they've played with an idea of expanding the number of characters previously, they have said that they're going from 140 characters to 280 characters. Interestingly, this isn't a problem. This comes from the Twitter blog on Tuesday, the 26th. Interestingly, trying to cram everything into 140 characters isn't a problem everywhere people are tweeting. For example, when this author tweets in English, she quickly runs into the 140 character limit, and she has to edit her tweet down so it fits. Sometimes she has to remove a word that conveys an important meaning or emotion, or don't send my tweet at all. But when she tweets in Japanese, when somebody else tweets in Japanese, they don't have the problem, and they finish sharing the thought and still have room to spare. It's because languages like Japanese, Korean, and Chinese, you can convey about double the amount of information in one character as you can in many other languages like English, Spanish, Portuguese, or French. So their answer to solving this problem was to expand from 140 to 280 characters. And I'm not sure I really like Twitter at the 140 character limit. But really the issue for me is, I think this is probably good for businesses, but the big issue for me is if you're having trouble with 140 characters, what's going to stop you from having trouble at 280 characters? I feel like once you get to that point, you're still going to be cramming information because you're just writing a longer sentence or longer paragraph. And I don't see how the expansion of the characters solves the cramming problem if you're saying more in that amount of time. Mike, what are your thoughts on the expansion? And I should say that this is rolled out to a small number of people right now, but they expect it to come out to more people in the near future.
Yeah. No, I think that, number one, when I heard about it, I immediately went and checked, and I wasn't in that select smaller group that is trying it right now. I mean, I think this is a fundamental shift. I mean, this is what we know Twitter as, 140 characters. And now to double that, I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on it. I think that 140, yes, I did have to abbreviate at times. I did, but that was kind of the uniqueness and what I came to expect with Twitter in this bite-sized piece. And now to double that, what's it going to do to the conversation? And will that matter? They talk about Twitter being about brevity. Will people still consider it to maintain that with 280? And I think that the verdict is out. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a fundamental change. Is it like if Facebook would have added a dislike button? I don't know. I mean, but it's fairly significant, that to do this. And I think the verdict is still going to be out there. I mean, I know that they need to evolve. I know that they need to test some things, and they're trying to get some data on this. But I mean, there's some prolific people that are on Twitter right now in terms of stirring things up and getting some noise out there, and thinking of giving them 280 to do some of that instead of just 140. And I'm just like, wow, seriously? So I don't know. Verdict's out.
Yeah. I don't know what it means. Now, are you with me, or or do you think that there will be enough space in 280 characters to avoid the cramming issue that they claim is the reason they decided to do this?
Well, I mean, I think that's stylistically. I think if you're a person that gets stuck on the 140, you probably will be a person that gets stuck on the 280. Right. I think that that kind of flows out of the way you write, and so I don't think that's going to take care of the problem. I was surprised by their data there that how powerful the very short tweets are in Japanese, and the volume of those that are very short. So, when I talk about, most tweets in Japanese have 15 characters.
Right.
And so now we're doubling, we're going up to 280 characters. So I think it'll still be a problem for some people. And for that segment that already does that, there's this middle ground. I mean, I run into it at times. There's times where it bothers me. I look tonight, I was going to retweet this from Christian, and I'm 35 characters over.
Right.
He's saying, hey, we're 60 minutes out. And I'm like, hey, that's great. He's got the GIF in there. I want the GIF in there. I want to add these pieces in there. And I'm 35 characters over, and it's driving me nuts. I can't. That to me was like insurmountable. I can reduce 9 characters, maybe 12, kind of thing. But there's no way I can get 35 down and keep the essence of what he gave me. So in that case, it would have worked for me.
Right. Right. I noticed that it's better for me, and I think you're right on the stylistically, that this is a stylistic issue, because I'll notice I'll type out my response, and then I'll go back and pick those words that I don't need. And unless it's, we're just having a fun back and forth in real short phrases, and, brevity being the soul of wit and all that. But if it's on an issue related to business that I'm trying to, then I write it out, and then I go back and cut out the unnecessary.
Yeah.
So Christian, what are your thoughts?
Overall, I mean, I think that, I wonder what is Twitter's goal here, because we all know for some time Twitter's had a big issue with getting people to, getting users, adding users. A lot of people, think that it's related to, like, oh, I don't use Twitter because there's a lot of spam and whatnot, or a lot of bots. And so I want to know what their goal is first. If this is part of their solution to say, hey, we need to make Twitter easier to use, I don't see it. 280 characters. I liked the fact that it forced me on Twitter to be more concise with what I was saying. Mm-hmm. To go and look at it and say, well, hey, you know what? How can I reword this? But there were times where I do want a little bit of extra characters, for things. So overall, I mean, I'm glad that it's there, but I kind of think 280 is actually kind of too much. Mm-hmm. If you really kind of look at, even like meta descriptions people put in for like blogs and whatnot, I mean, I think you're actually over that limit now. Or now you actually have the 280 characters. So, are people going to start doing that? I kind of think it's going to actually make the quality go down on Twitter, because people are going to be publishing too much. They've given us some items to work with before this, right? They've allowed us to add images and things like that without it taking any of the characters. So I think we beat this one to death. Shall we move on? Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Facebook Business, this comes from Facebook itself, introducing more ways to drive offline outcomes. So businesses are competing in a fast-changing world where mobile is influencing product discovery more than ever. But while people are increasingly reach for their devices to shop, over 90% of sales still take place in a physical store. So as a result of this, Facebook's come up with some new ways to reach your customers who have purchased offline. So since launching last year, thousands of companies have used Facebook's offline conversions tool to measure the impact of their campaigns on offline purchases, including in-store sales. Businesses can now build custom audiences from their offline conversion event sets, comprised of people who have previously purchased offline. These new types of audiences enable businesses to dynamically re-engage shoppers based on their interactions through offline channels such as stores or call centers. For example, a real estate company can automatically show an ad with their latest house listings to people who have called to schedule an open house tour in the last 30 days. So businesses can also create lookalike audiences to find new potential shoppers that share characteristics with their best customers that shop offline. There are a few other items in here. I don't know the depth that I should go into rereading each of these, Christian. because I think it'll take quite a while, but they have ability to reach customers who have also visited your store. And they have, let's see, what is is that the only two? I thought there was more to this. Anyway, let me read one more paragraph here, and then we'll jump in. So reaching customers who have visited your store, driving foot traffic to store locations remains a priority for marketers. Many businesses are doing this with our store visit objective. Facebook store visits reporting is an estimated metric based on information from people with location services enabled on their phone. Now, thousands of businesses across more than a dozen countries are eligible to use Facebook's store visits reporting to understand the impact of their ads on the foot traffic in their stores. Mike, do you want to elaborate a little bit on either of these two items? Have you used them? Have you noticed an increase in foot traffic? I am not in a foot traffic business, so I have not had any experience with this.
Yeah, well, I haven't used them, and I think that they haven't been rolled out to the masses really yet. So I mean, they're just basically, I mean, Macy's. They've tested some of these things with some big retailers. Who was one of the other ones there that they mentioned? Dick's Sporting Goods. So some of a large retailer, and they've seen some positive things. They kind of break it down to those two areas. That if you've purchased something offline, typically that you've been in the store, or maybe that was over the phone. And then also that second one was maybe you didn't purchase it, but you were at least in the store, which is a unique aspect to try to drill into how they're getting a hold of that kind of tracking information. There has to be something tied to that. And I think it's intriguing. I think that, we know it comes back to the general marketing pieces where oftentimes it can take 7 points of contact, for someone to be ready to make that purchase. They're not that they, even if they're in the store, maybe they weren't ready. If they were online, they see something, maybe they weren't ready, but over the course of time, you've built some trust, you've built some brand awareness, you've built some consistency, and at that point they're ready then. And so it's another tool to integrate those pieces. We often talk about some of those points of contact as oftentimes being the same. Maybe it's they were on Facebook, or they went to your website, and then you retarget them, and so that's all online. But now we're kind of blending those pieces. I think it's interesting. I think that it has some potential. Obviously, there's Macy's is seeing some results from that. Dick's was seeing some results from that.
It looks like KFC was one of the ones who tried it out.
Yep. I understand totally the offline purchase one. That one makes total sense to me. The one that's out there a little bit more is like the visiting.
Yeah.
So that one's got some technology there that they don't go into great detail on that, and that one's unique. And it says, features carefully to ensure people's privacy. That's always the question that people ask. Like, I didn't buy anything, but how'd you know I'm in the store? You can deliver an ad. That feels like violation, whatever. But I guess they're not revealing information. They're identifying this as a person, so you can follow them. So, Facebook's innovative. Give them credit. That's powerful. And I think it's beneficial. We'll see if it rolls out and can get there and be beneficial to the small business.
Yeah. Christian, what are your thoughts?
I think, one aspect of this I really am interested in is just the fact that they can, and by the way, this is the next iteration of Facebook ads, because a lot of people, they track the whole online behavior.
Yep.
And people, here's the thing. I still go to stores and buy things. Maybe currently where I'm at now, maybe not as much, but I go to stores and I buy things, and Facebook, you need to be able to track that as a business. And here's the thing. Most businesses are so busy. They're not going to sit there and go through all their paper receipts and, look up that customer's name online and make sure they've liked their Facebook page and whatever else. So I think that this is a really good push from Facebook. Um, you know, do I like the fact that they're able to kind of track this using in-store beacons and things like that? Not as much, but I think at the same time you have to give up some of that information to be able to get the most accurate data that you possibly can. Now, I actually think that the third iteration of this, by the way, is going to be tapping into billboards. Because, if you really think about billboards right now, you drive by a billboard, in most cases it's a static billboard. And I think that Facebook could potentially use this data to say, well, hey, Christian visited this particular store and we know exactly where he's at. Let's see if we can, somehow serve up an ad, whether it's to a billboard maybe nearby or maybe eventually into your vehicle. But overall, I'm really excited about just these two updates specifically, really to target people who in-store visits, but also people who made a purchase.
So this is one item that they say here that I think is interesting. So this is from the U.S. Director of Media and Digital at KFC. Facebook store visits reporting helped us show an increase in restaurant traffic and higher sales during our Facebook campaign. Some campaigns have shown a cost per store visit ranging from 50 cents to $2. Understanding the impact of our Facebook ads on foot traffic is putting us ahead of the curve from others in the industry in terms of proving ROI. So my thought is if in-store visit for KFC is costing $2, but somebody's buying a $10 meal, I don't feel like that's the greatest return in a business like the one I'm in. If we spend $10 or $15 and get a $550 membership out of it, that seems like a better return. So I'm interested to see the long-term viability of that. Anybody have thoughts on that? $2 to get somebody in a KFC store?
I think overall, $2 to get somebody in for like a $10 meal, you kind of have to look at it. It's not just the Facebook advertising, but it's also all your other marketing expenses as well that you're doing. It's going to add up. And I think from a business perspective, depending on the type of business I am, this is going to mainly apply to, the people that do have that physical store. So all the people that are saying, well, hey, let me shut my offline, store and go mainly online. I think that, you may want to even reconsider going back to some of those physical locations. But Mike, what do you think? Do you think that,
well, I think they're probably going to compare it to what they're spending on some other things. So you think of a KFC television ad, what's it costing them to produce that? And how many, meals does it take to pay for that television commercial? So maybe they're seeing some value in those types of pieces. That is a change for them in where they're allocating their marketing dollars potentially.
Yeah. I think that's where there would have to be. It would seem to me that there would have to be cost savings elsewhere for the return on maybe selling a $10 meal.
That's it. It's a low margin, type of sale. They have to have high volume on that. Right. They're probably taking a look at, again, that's smart. Take a look at where your buckets of dollars are going and how you can get that, a better return on that piece.
Was the buckets of dollars, was that a pun intended there since we were discussing KFC?
It just flowed out. It wasn't thought through. Yeah.
It worked perfectly. It worked perfectly for the segment. I do want to thank Joanne Kroll and Morris Lilienthal for being with us tonight. Thank you both. Appreciate having you here. Our next story is from Marketing Land, and this came out September 22nd. This is Facebook will measure how its ads compare against or complement TV campaigns. Excuse me. So Facebook is raising its bid for brand advertisers, TV budget. Excuse me. Facebook will offer advertisers the option of having the company measure how the ads it sells influence people's awareness of a brand and how that compares with advertisers' TV campaigns, the company announced. with the new measurement program called Facebook. Some of their titles are getting ridiculously long here. Called Facebook Cross-Platform Brand Lift. Facebook will survey people shown ads across Facebook, Instagram, and its audience network ad network to see if they remember an ad and the corresponding brand. Then it will report how brand lift on Facebook compares with brands' TV ad campaigns, measured in a similar way by TV ad analytics firm iSpot. Facebook expects to roll out this cross-platform brand lift measurement program to advertisers sometime in early 2018. And they will be rolling this out. This brand lift measurement program will be run by Nielsen, something that's by Nielsen, and Nielsen decided to go ahead and expand the actual name of this subset of Nielsen to meet Facebook's entirely long titles. This will be reviewed by Nielsen. Total brand effect with lift. So, what are your thoughts on this, Mike?
Yeah, I think that, we touched on a little bit in that last segment here, and we're getting into it, and that is Facebook knows who their target is. I mean, it's television. That's who they're trying to compete with to show a alternative, and so it's basically another measurement tool. They're saying, television has this tool to measure brand lift, so we need to develop this on the Facebook side. I think it's smart for Facebook. I think it's what they have to do. They are competing for those television ad revenue dollars and to try to take a larger share of that piece. And I think this helps them do that. I think that there's going to be some positive to this, because of the time spent on Facebook, and in the way a user engages with Facebook in the news feed, and how we perceive television commercials. So I think there's value here. I think it's another step that they're going head to head with television, and they're going to be taking a larger slice of that pie.
Yeah, I think this is headed down the way that we've seen them going with Facebook. Is it Watch, which I still have not yet watched, but is it Facebook Watch, Christian, that we discussed earlier in the year?
Yes, it is Facebook Watch. Yes.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this? This seems to be, I have to agree with Mike. This seems to be the way that they're going.
Definitely agree with that same logic there on, let me get the name right again.
Yeah.
What's it called? It's called Facebook. What is it? Facebook
Cross-platform brand lift.
Brand lift.
Yep.
What is the acronym going to be in-house for that? Is it, they're going to have to get creative, because that's even going to be a long acronym. Christian, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They probably have, honestly, they probably have code names that they use for different things. But, I will say overall, I mean, this is, it's smart for Facebook because, again, I mean, they want to put these, the shift in advertising, for business, it's here. And people have the ability to, they're looking at it and saying, well, hey, you know what, it's getting more competitive now. What are our platforms that we should be using? Previously people, only the people that could really advertise on some of these channels, you had to have, they had to have really deep pockets. And now a business can look at it and say, well, hey, if I can get, more lift, for instance, doing this option versus that option, I'm going to go with that option. And now they can make those smarter marketing decisions, being able to, look at everything, just across, their entire picture here, and say, well, hey, you know what, maybe I'm doing better with, the individual offline conversions, for instance, than let me cut back on my print ads, or let me cut back on my TV ads, for instance, or you know what, I want to do TV. Let me see how that works. And they can kind of run a little bit of a test. So I'm excited that they're going to be rolling this out as well. I think this goes hand in hand with the other topic we talked about tonight. I do wish that overall that the brand lift piece, the cross-platform brand lift piece, would be rolled out to everyone now. Right now, it's only the Nielsen one that's available. The other one will be coming out. I think it's later this year.
Right. 2018. I think.
Sorry, 2018. So I think we're talking about now. people are going to forget about it, I think, and by that time.
By that time.
So,
all right. So our
yeah.
next item up is basically that Facebook has made it easier for us to toggle between Instagram, Messenger, and Facebook. Christian, you posted a little video on the Facebook page today. Would you like to run us through it? It's post the video for people to see, or maybe you want to share the screen on this one, Christian.
Yeah, let me share the screen. Yeah, what I wanted to actually, and the reason I want to actually bring this one up is because there were, before I actually shared this, there were some reports going around, I guess, that, here's another way for you to be able to quickly switch between accounts. And it was actually not using the way that I found on the Facebook mobile app. So let me pull this up and share this with everybody, because I actually like the implementation of this. So one second, let me get back to this, because Facebook has actually, they've moved, how many posts you can see in your feed. So now I have to go find the post, which is the fun part.
Oh, okay. So you want me to jump onto the Instagram?
No, I got it. I had to go actually find it. Not a big deal.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let me pull this up. Let's see. There we go. So basically what we have happening here, and by the way, this is in the Facebook mobile app. So if you update the Facebook mobile app, you will see, one of the main things, we've switched the Facebook profile photo. It used to be square. Now they've moved to the whole circular piece. So if you scroll up on your news feed and you tap on your profile photo at the top, in the top right corner, you will actually get the ability to switch to your Facebook profile, to your Messenger account, or directly to Instagram. Or by the way, you don't have to scroll. You can get it at least, though, if you are scrolling. If you're at the top of the home feed as well, or sorry, news feed. But that's basically the update. Overall, I mean, I kind of want to hear from you guys. I mean, do you have this, first of all, and then two, what do you think about it?
I don't have it yet. And Mike, while we were waiting for you to wake up, Christian, and get online with us, Mike and I were talking about the next upcoming story that we didn't have that either. So I don't have either of these, and I just updated while we were waiting for you to pop in. So I don't have this, or I don't have the updates for this or the next story. Mike, do you have this one? I think this is a great feature.
I do not have this one as well.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Wow. That's really fascinating. I mean, what do you guys think about this? Do you like the implementation of this? Do you think it's a useful feature for a user? I mean, I like the fact that when I tap on something, I could easily. Oh, by the way, it also shows you the number of notifications as well. So, for instance, I just got a message from Jessica Phillips, and I tap on that, and it takes me over to Messenger.
I think anything that allows me to toggle between. I mean, the nightmare of Facebook for so long has been. I got to have 14 apps to run it, right? They really got out of control with the number of different apps that you needed. So anything that allows me to toggle between the three that I really need to use, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger, I think is great.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion there. I think that again, I think they're just showing more integrations. I mean, with Instagram, first it was being able to roll out and add to Instagram from Facebook, and and some of those types of pieces, and then it's being able to manage some Instagram comments in your Facebook page, that type of thing. So I think you're just showing more interconnectivity. But these are their big three. Facebook, Messenger, and Instagram. That's their key world. We haven't even seen. I mean, in outside of the U.S. WhatsApp is massive, and that's owned by Facebook. Mm-hmm. So we haven't seen a lot of that type of integration. But yeah, I think nice integration. I'd look forward to it, and just keep. I get tired of checking my app to see if there's updates for that, but I'm waiting for it.
Yeah.
So do you think? So with this, do you guys think that they need to add Facebook pages to this, or do you think that in the current state, Facebook profiles, Messenger, and Instagram kind of should be the bar here?
Go ahead, Mike.
Tough call. I think that, I do like the capability when you want to go and you want to like comment or share something, what do you want to share it as, and so you kind of can go through that. I can share this as my personal profile or share it with the pages. That's been useful for me, so I would see some potential value in that, but again, there's also for the average user, probably that would be helpful. For me, when I manage, a massive amount of Facebook pages, it's sometimes, it is still unruly. So, but that's a rare problem. I'm a part of a smaller percentage there.
Right. Yeah. My thoughts are, I'm in front of either desktop or laptop so much of the day that I really don't have a need for the Facebook Pages app. I guess that changes a little bit, and I don't have the number of pages that somebody like you have, Mike. You said you have it becomes unruly because you have so many that you manage, and I don't have that issue. There's 4 or 5, and in fact, I just shut notifications off on the Facebook Pages app because it was like one more thing that I'm not checking because I check it when I'm in front of the desktop. So
speaking of desktop here, do you all think that desktop should have a feature like this? Like, for instance, would you like to have, one would solve the problem of having multiple tabs maybe open?
I would, particularly for the Instagram thing, just to be able to kind of quickly do that piece, and so that'd be valuable.
Yeah, I think to add Instagram and be able to do, I always want something back to the desktop as much as I like mobile, but I'm in front of a computer all the time. So, and right now I got everything I need on Facebook desktop because Messenger's built right in there. So if there was a way to toggle between Instagram and Facebook, I think it'd be great.
Nice. Yep. Very nice.
Okay, so our next story is from Instagram, and I don't have this update yet. This one's a little bit more fun, more ways to reply with a photo in direct, in your direct messages. Starting today, and this comes from the Instagram blog. This is a couple weeks old, actually, but they said starting today, but now that this is a couple of weeks old, neither Mike nor I have this at this point. So they're rolling it out. You can make text messages in direct more expressive by adding a visual backdrop, whether you want to pair your message with a selfie or a colorful background. It's easier than ever to share exactly how you feel. After you type your message, simply tap the camera, capture your disappearing photo, and tap send. You can also change the color of the background to match your mood. Try picking different colors and adjusting the intensity of the color. I tried it. I think I have all the tools that are supposed to work in this, Mike, when I was testing it out before the show tonight. I think I have the thing that's supposed to change the intensity of the color in the background. It just doesn't appear to have been rolled out to me yet.
Okay. Christian, how about you?
Overall, I think from a business perspective, I think that this could be very useful if I use Instagram Direct for a lot of communications. For example, if I'm over there, talking with you, Mike, and I'm talking with Nick, and we're talking through Instagram Direct, I would, for instance, like the ability to, in my case, I would take a picture of both of you and put that as the backdrop, and that way I could easily see who I'm communicating with. Yes, I can see your name on there, but sometimes we're, moving too quickly to the point that we forget to, kind of, well, who am I talking with here and who am I talking with there? So that's how I could see this being very useful from a business perspective, so I don't accidentally send the wrong information. Now, do I use Instagram Direct a lot? Not really. Mike, do you guys use it at all? I mean, or
not from a business perspective too much. No. Yeah. Only personal.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the only way I'm using it. But I mean, if you were in food service or restaurant industry and you wanted to show people stuff and you really interacted through Instagram, which we've seen multiple stories of that in the last few months, people redesigning their restaurants to be Instagram friendly. Well, if you're communicating with those customers through Instagram, this could be a fun way to communicate with them in the direct message feature. So that is that one. Our last story for the night, and then Christian's going to give us some tools. Vimeo acquires Livestream, launches its own live video product. Proud to say that I found this one before Christian, this story, I mean, and notified him. This is an unlikely occurrence, Mike. So when I find it in the one to notify him about it, it has to be brought to the attention of the group. After abandoning its plans to launch a subscription video on demand business earlier this year, IAC owned streaming video site Vimeo announced that it was acquiring a live video streaming platform, Livestream, and launching its own streaming product, Vimeo Live. The move to integrate Livestream's technology into Vimeo will allow video creators to capture, edit, stream, and archive their live events, the company says, in addition to hosting, distributing, and generating revenue from their videos. Terms of the acquisition were not disclosed, but the deal is expected to close early in the fourth quarter. Vimeo tells TechCrunch that it's also the largest acquisition in its history. What are your thoughts on this, Mike? I think this is just one more step in the live video revolution.
Yeah, I think it's Vimeo just needing to evolve and adapt to keep in step. When you think of what YouTube offers, already having YouTube Live and that type of thing, I think it's Vimeo tries to have its own similarities but differentiation, from a YouTube type thing, and I think that they'll try to maintain this there, but I think it makes sense. I think it's a pretty good acquisition if that price is right for them, and I think that it's the next evolution of what they needed to add to their toolbox to maintain the competitive edge of their service. Yeah. and the spectrum of their service. This is the new spectrum. It's not just video. You need to have live video capabilities.
Right. Christian, what are your thoughts?
Overall, I really like this update. You and I talk about this a lot. I like the fact that, here's the thing, Mike talked about the need for Vimeo to evolve. And I use Vimeo, I use YouTube. I use Vimeo for certain things. Vimeo has a different quality about it than YouTube.
Yep.
A different quality in the fact that, you could do you could do your hosting with them. But when you really get down to the nuts and bolts of uploading a video, for example, if I put something up on YouTube, and I'm not, not bashing one company or the other here, YouTube, my options are somewhat limited as far as what can I do. For example, do I want to upload a video and change the video once it's up? On YouTube, I can't do that. Do I want to be able to remove some things, add some branding, add some colors and whatnot to match my business? Do I want to even restrict which URL a person can use? Vimeo offers that with their video tools. By launching the live streaming piece, I mean, it's a no-brainer to me that they do this. Overall, do I think the price is expensive? I kind of do, but I know that you get what you pay for. You kind of have to look at it like that. Vimeo Live, I kind of want to talk about pricing here real quick. It's $75 a month, billed annually. So what are you paying there? Let's see, that's what, 150 times, 6, I think, right? So we're looking at, about $900 a year. Not that expensive, actually, when you think of things, because you get 5 streaming hours per month. Most people aren't going to stream 5 hours or more. They're going to do smaller videos. But you also get, with that $75 a month, you get access to Vimeo Pro as well, which is also is also a costly service. And they give you all this, extra space. But the added benefit to all of this is that you can also sell your products as well through Vimeo as well. So it's not just like, hey, somebody can watch my video and I got a view. I actually can then sell things. So I could have a course. I could have, you could put all your videos up on Vimeo, for instance. A lot of people do that. Yep. So there's a lot of really good things to like about this deal.
Okay. All right. Have you got some tools?
Sorry. And one other thing I do want to mention about Vimeo as well, with Vimeo Live. By the way, you can learn more about this at vimeo.com/live. I've been in touch with them because you and I have talked about, well, hey, do they integrate with Facebook Live and all that sort of stuff?
All right.
Currently, they do not, but that is actually on their roadmap, and I actually expect that to come out very, very soon as well. So you're getting a really good tool. I will say that for what you're paying for here.
Interesting. Okay. But the interesting thing is that it is a paid live service. It's not a free live service.
It's not free, but you have to. It's a quality paid live service.
Yeah,
that's kind of the key thing
the
here.
big difference.
Before we get into some tools real quick, let's just talk real quick about just the fact that like when we've been doing live streaming, we started with Blab. Blab was free.
Right.
Blab shut down.
Yep.
Then we moved, they said they were coming out with something else. I really haven't kind of seen it, but Blab shut down. Then we moved into, what were the other ones we moved into, Nick? Huzza. So Huzza, that got purchased by Kickstarter, I believe, right?
Something like that. It's hard to keep track anymore.
Which, it was great, except here was the challenge we ran into. The challenge was we do a show and we depended on this tool, and all of a sudden, hey, they shut down, and we had to then go to another service, and they were all paid services, and they were $50 a month or something like that. So we moved to Huzza. Then we moved to what was the other one we moved to? It was
Fire Talk.
Fire Talk. They got acquired again. Small company got acquired. Then Facebook came along and launched their product. And then also along the way you had Periscope and you had a bunch of other, and you've had Meerkat and all those other things come along. Most of those are no longer around. So that's where, now you have YouTube in this and you have Vimeo. I think that this is well worth paying for because you don't have to worry about, well, hey, are they going to shut down? This company, it seems to me, is not in the business of selling out, basically. I don't want to say selling out, but they're not in the business of, hey, I'm just going to quickly start my own live video product and charge people, $40, $50 a month or whatever. I'm actually a company that has, an established history. And that's where I think that, Vimeo, charging for this, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, Mike, how do you feel about that, by the way? Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, nothing too much different to add to that. I think you're right on. It has been just a frustrating journey of the live streaming kind of startup and fade, startup and purchase, startup and shut down, all that kind of thing. So, and I think this one, the Vimeo has shown their business model is not one of rash decisions or that squash something, but of longevity.
And we had gone through it over and over, Christian, as you mentioned. We'd gone through it so many times that we ended up paying for tools rather than taking on another free service.
Yep.
Right. We moved to Wirecast, for instance, and we moved to Wirecast because we said, hey, Wirecast, established company, they make ScreenFlow, for instance. Now they have Wirecast for live video. So we switched to that. Mike, you guys are using what? Blue Jeans, I think. Is that right?
Blue Jeans, yeah.
Yeah, you guys are using
another
Blue Jeans.
one that we've discussed using as well. So,
how much is Blue Jeans, by the way? I mean,
I mean, you're looking in all these things to get something relevant. You're paying definitely over $50 a month. If you can get it under $100, hey, you're doing well, that type of thing. So between the 50 and 100 markers seems to be to get something reliable, steady that's there.
Yep. Something that you can launch, for instance, from your desktop, something you can launch from your mobile device, something that works seamlessly. There are development costs, but I would say, if you're considering a service, you're using a live streaming service right now, you can launch Facebook Live, but a lot of these services, the benefit to using one of these other services is typically they give you, a few more bells and whistles. They make things a lot more seamless. They make it easier to embed on your website, in your blog posts. They give you, a mobile app. Don't just say, well, hey, Facebook's the one thing I need to stick to. A lot of these services basically let you port to different platforms. So we can be broadcasting here on Zoom right now, pushing it to Facebook Live, and then potentially pushing it to like YouTube, for instance, and reaching two different audiences.
Yep. So. And Facebook still has its limitations. We couldn't have the three of us live simultaneously on Facebook by itself.
Not at all.
Yep.
No. Still haven't cranked that up. Christian, we've got about 9 minutes left. Let's hear some tools.
Yeah, sure. Awesome. Let's talk about some tools. So the first one is Rocketium. And this is, it's a video editing tool. So let me pull up my screen here for everybody. So Rocketium, basically it's a way for you to make they like to say, make awesome videos in minutes using text, images, videos, and voiceover audio. Doesn't really sound any different, obviously, from what you kind of hear. Well, hey, I got a video tool that does this, that, and whatever. But what I like about this is just the ease of use. So let me actually show you guys this tool. Okay, so there's Rocketium. Just overall, it's ease of use. You simply can go in, you can capture your video from a number of different sources. You can upload them from your camera roll. You've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, and so forth. So you could actually pull in your videos from those sources, which I think that's actually a useful feature. You can add in some text overlaying this over top of your video, customize your videos with different, like I said, with different text, adding voiceover narration, and then preview your video. And another thing they also have is they have this cloud storage feature with Rocketium. Basically, it's Rocketium Cloud. So this way you can make your edits and you can put them up in the cloud. And then very likely, somebody who's using the cloud feature will be able to, get an embed code or something to be able to take that and put that video into a blog post. So you don't have to create it on your phone and then try to upload it to YouTube or wait till you get home to your desktop or whatever. You have all the options pretty much right there. And this, by the way, is a free tool, which is actually really nice. A free tool with no ads, which is, so it's not a freemium ad supported model. So that's Rocketium.
So this looks like, reminds me of Apple Clips that came out about 6 months ago. Yeah, no?
A little bit. This is more for capturing longer form video, I think,
Okay.
versus, the Apple Clips piece was, doing a more stylistic approach to video.
Okay, all right.
So, Mike, what do you think about this one? Do you actually do you have any other tools that you actually use for doing video editing? I know we have iMovie, but
I use a number of them. I was just trying to take a look at some of the different ones with, Lumiere and Adobe Spark, some of those types of pieces here that I've been using. I still have an old one. I call it old, but it seems it's been a steady one, Video Shop. These are on, mobile ones to edit. But I just downloaded this one kind of when I got your agenda to take a look at the different pieces there. Yeah. And so far, pretty impressed with the ease of use and the features, the way it's laid out there. So I'm definitely going to give this a further spin and see how it goes, because I'm not sold on kind of what I've been using on the mobile version, and can I tell you why? I think it's just I don't feel like I can produce them fast enough with the effects I want, so that I'm still trying to. I'm still trying to get there, and so I definitely want to take a look at this.
And I will say, with iOS 11 coming out last week, that's going to change, I think, a lot of the video creation process. They have, a lot of drag and drop functionality now that you can do directly on the device. So I think that it's going to make it easier for you to be more nimble with your hands, to be able to make certain cuts here and there when you want to make those edits in a video. So more touch functionality, I think.
Cool. What's next?
So the second tool is called Linktree for Instagram, and this is actually this is a pretty neat tool. This is a tool for letting you, as a business, anyone basically can use this. It lets you add multiple links to your Instagram channel. So one of the challenges you've always run into with Instagram is the ability to add links for posts. So I go to my bio, I put in one link, and then let's say I want to notify somebody about a podcast or a new blog or the show, for instance. I have to go to Instagram and I have to say, well, hey, check out the link in my bio. I switch it out, for instance. This lets you basically take one link through Linktree, and you can go in and you can select certain items to appear here in this menu when somebody taps on it. So basically, it's a second tap, but it's, somebody taps your link, it goes to the menu. They can then select to choose what option they want to actually choose that you have highlighted as a business.
The relevant one. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
So that's Linktree. Mike, how do you feel about this one? Should there be multiple links on Instagram?
I think I think it's solving a felt need out there. I mean, it's been kind of it's painful at times. I've had it where one day you want to share this link, so you got to do that one in your bio. Then the next day, you got to go back and you switch it for the next thing. However, people started engaging with the one from yesterday, and so now the link is wrong. That type of thing. So it's solving this issue by giving you some multiple options there. And so I think there's value in it. I mean, Instagram has kind of maintained the limitation there. And so this is a way around that. And I think that's it has some benefits there. I'm definitely, checking out the free version. Would I opt to, pay for that paid service? It's not a lot, but I'm not sure that I would need to step up to that. Maybe a heavy duty user would.
Yeah.
How much, by the way, how much was the pricing on it again?
I think it was $6.99 I saw for the, again, not much, but do I need that, kind of thing.
I will say this from a business perspective, if I'm doing a lot of sales through my Instagram channel, it's worth the cost. If I'm somebody that, I just get started and I'm like, well, hey, I want to have all the bells and whistles, I want to spend the money. I would probably, I do exactly what you said there. I mean, I would probably not invest in upgrading to that version yet until I was able to actually look at the data and say, well, hey, am I actually driving enough results to warrant the cost of this tool? Now, I will give you all another little tip for this, and this is actually where I think that this is actually also very. It's kind of essentially another workaround for people. So if people want to actually use and to add multiple links to their Instagram bio, the other thing you can also do is you can set up your own, essentially your own same exact thing basically for your business using a tool, for instance, such as maybe like a LeadPages, because essentially all this is doing is creating a landing page. And so you actually can go into LeadPages, create your own landing page that you can customize yourself using their drag and drop interface, because you may already be using this tool anyway. And then just assign a custom URL to it or use the one that they give you. So that's also another option if you already have a landing page solution like that.
Cool. Well, that wraps it up for us tonight. Thank you to our guest, Mike Gingrich. I still want to have the E in it, Mike. It's like when I read it, I want to pronounce the E, and it's a silent E. Christian, any last minute thoughts that you want to share? Thank you, Joanne and Morris for being here. Really appreciate your support. And Christian, any last minute thoughts?
I just want to say, next week, I think we're going to have, first off, I want to say thanks a lot, Mike, for joining for tonight's show. We're glad we could have you on. I know we've been talking about this for a few months now to get you on here. So it's really good to have you on. Just want to tell everybody next week, same time, 10 p.m., we're going to have another Mike on. We're going to have Mike Alton on as a guest. So it's going to be, another really good show, but be sure to tune in.
Christian, one last thing before you, Mike, I didn't ask you, you can tell I'm wiped out. It's been a long day. Where do people find you?
Yeah. I mean, the best place is my website there, MikeGingrich.com. And from there, you'll be able to find all my social access points. I do spend a lot of time, primarily, I would say, on Facebook and Instagram as kind of my two go-to socials, but start at MikeGingrich.com.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Mike. Christian, thank you. I will talk to you soon. And thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Thank you to our replay viewers. Have a great night, everybody.
Pleasure. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.